If I told you there's a breakfast out there that takes less than 90 seconds to make and get you down to 12% or less body fat, you think I'm making it up. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you the exact breakfast that keeps me at 12% body fat and got me down to photo shoot condition. I'll also explain why this breakfast works so well, how to calculate whether a meal has a decent level of protein relative to the calories, and why it's harder to build muscle as you get older. So here is the breakfast. Yes, it looks like a big bowl of slop, but I can assure you it tastes a lot better than it looks. So what's actually in it? 200 grams of either fat-free or 5% fat yogurt, and we'll come back to the 0% and 5% in a little bit. Around 50 to 100 grams of frozen berries, I like raspberries, 40 grams of oats, and 1 scoop of protein powder. You don't have to include protein powder, but it really does boost the protein content in this. You're looking at around 450 to 500 calories with about 45 grams of protein. But before you go and make it, there's a few things that you need to know. It's not the breakfast that caused me to lose fat, it was the calorie deficit that did that, but the breakfast did stop, in quite a big way, the deficit from falling apart. Let me break down exactly why that is. When somebody starts to lose body fat, they often think, well, I'll just skip breakfast. And whilst that might work, it can have a knock-on effect to your hunger throughout the day. Now, the important thing to remember that not everybody's hunger and times of eating is the same. The internet wants to push their one way only for you to do a fat loss program, but some of it is going to be trying something and see whether that works for you. So even if you're not a breakfast person, you can still have this bowl later in the day and it will have the same effect. So what's in this bowl that stops the deficit from falling apart? Many reasons the deficit falls apart is because you get so hungry that you just have to go and eat something. The willpower's gone and left the building. You're like, I just can't take this anymore. And then you can't adhere to the diet long enough to actually see any real results. And adherence is always going to be the key to any fat loss. So if we front load the morning with protein and fibre, it slows digestion, which means we stay fuller for longer. So even if your breakfast has a few more calories in it than what you would normally have, but it means that you're not picking at things throughout the morning, and then you're not super hungry at lunchtime, so your lunch is smaller, it's a lot easier to stick to your deficit. So the protein powder and the yogurt loads up the protein side of it, and the berries and the oats give you the fibre. And with the yogurt, you can go for the 5% fat yogurt, which can help slow digestion, plus it can keep you fuller for longer, but it does have extra calories, but we do need healthy fats in our diet. So if you're getting healthy fats elsewhere throughout the day in nuts, avocado, those sort of things, and actually your hunger's pretty well managed at 0% fat yogurt, then fill your boots with that. At the end of the day, you want to come out of the week being in an overall calorie deficit, but you want to pick the foods that are going to support that. Keep you fuller for longer, aim for more volume and lower calories where you can, but still make sure you're getting a mix of your healthy fats, some carbohydrates, some protein. Definitely protein in your diet. So why do fitness coaches always talk about protein? Because it's not just about building muscle, whilst that's really important as we get older, because the older we get, the less muscle we have if we're not looking after it, and the less muscle we have, the more likely we're going to be frail at a younger age, which causes all kinds of problems. But protein's important for pretty much everything in your body. Enzymes are mainly proteins. They help with some hormone reduction, hair, skin, and protein has the highest thermic effect. Anything that we eat, our body uses some calories to digest and use that food. Fats and carbohydrates have a lower thermic effect. So what that means, there's less calories burnt digesting those than there is protein. Protein burns around 20 to 30% of the calories just digesting that. So if you had 100 calories of protein, 20 to 30 of those calories will be burnt digesting it. Whereas carbohydrates is around 5 to 10% and fats is anywhere between 1 and 3%. Plus protein is one of the most filling, or is the most filling macronutrient, so it will make the diet easier to stick to. The other thing about protein is as we get older, our daily requirement doesn't go up, despite what a lot of people say, but we do become more anabolic resistant, meaning that we have to do certain things at a higher level to stimulate an anabolic response. Stay with me, this will make sense. One of the essential amino acids within protein is called leucine, and we have to hit a certain leucine threshold to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. And as we get older, that amount of protein in a single serving needs to be bigger. So if you're peppering protein in throughout the day and they're always small servings, you're not going to hit that leucine threshold. An easy way to calculate this is if you eat 0.3 to 0.5 grams per kilo of body weight in each serving, you're going to hit that leucine threshold. I like to pitch it in the middle. So under 55, 0.4 per kilogram of weight. per serving, so breakfast, dinner and lunch. And if you're over the age of 55, it needs to be a little bit higher, which is 0.4 to 0.6 grams per kilo of body weight. So pitch it in the middle, 0.5. But it doesn't mean your overall daily protein consumption amount has to go up as you get older. If you want help calculating your calories and your protein, I've got a habit tracker in the description. There's a calculator in there that will give you all the numbers that you need. So you'll have your protein numbers. How do you know if a meal has a decent amount of protein in it compared to its number of calories? There's a really simple calculation that you can use. You can just glance at something and go, hey, that's decent. You can take the total calories in a meal and remove the last digit, and if that's close to the grams of protein in the meal, you know it's decent. Or you can take the protein grams and add a 0, and if that's close to the number of calories in the meal, you know that it's a good ratio. So for example, if you've got 20 grams of protein in a meal, add a 0, 200, if that meal is then 200 calories, you know there's a good protein to calorie ratio. Where there's a lot of products on the market at the minute where it can say that it's a protein supplement or protein bar, but the level of protein is terrible. Like a Trek bar, for example, 9 grams of protein, but 230 calories. So if you took the 9 grams of protein, added a 0, 90. You want it to be about 90 calories, not 230. I also mentioned that you have fibre in your diet. Fibre helps slow digestion, plus we can't absorb all the calories from fibre, so that's another win from that. But slowing digestion and keeping you fuller for longer means you're not snacking in between meals. And again, it's that whole adherence thing. Now, sometimes people will say, what, you eat the same breakfast every single day? Not quite. I'll change the berries, maybe use a different flavour of protein powder. I might swap the oats for a Weetabix. But broadly, the dynamics of the meal stay roughly the same. And it's very rare that I change it that often. If anybody's got their version of this recipe and they want to share it in the comments, please feel free to, because it will help anybody that might go, I don't know if I like raspberries. There's also recipes in my habit tracker in the description below. So if you want to make your diet more manageable and you want to be able to stick to it for longer so that you stay in your calorie deficit, then try this for a week and see how it goes. And you might be saying, but breakfast is never the problem, it's that evening snacking when I'm sat down in front of the telly. Well, that's a video for another day because that can be a learned behaviour. But one thing that you could do is clean your teeth at 8 p.m. and then you're not going to want to eat something. Because once we've cleaned our teeth, we don't really want to have to do it again. But whilst a calorie deficit is important and looking after your body is important, there is a silent killer that's going on as we're getting older that nobody's talking about it. And it's in this video here. Can't wait to read people's comments around the breakfasts that they have in the morning, and I'll see you in the next one.